What's up, real world? Twisted Luck. Hope everybody's good. Thanks for being here. As we get closer and closer to Christmas, I think this is December 21st, 2022, and we're only a few days away. Santa Claus is coming to town. Can you believe it? It's Santa. So in the we got a lot going on. Like we talked about, big weather event, and hopefully not a power event that we're all about to deal with. But let's change it up a little bit, change the pace. Just a story for you. And honestly, this is not what I was even going to talk about today. But I heard this on the radio. On the radio, as I'm driving around and listening to Christmas music. And it's irking me because every commercial break, and there's a lot of them, they replay this same commercial about how scary the boogeyman is, and you should really go get your Kool-Aid. You should drink your Kool-Aid, right? It's the only way to save you. Even though it's been shown and proven that it does not, and it's actually, the opposite. So I couldn't handle it, so I changed it. And they were talking about this story, and it was interesting to me. So I'm going to share it with you and see what you think. It's a real-life Grinch story, I think. So, and I don't remember what state this is. I heard the story, and then I looked it up a little bit and read about it, and it's crazy. I don't remember the state, though. If it's local to you, maybe you've heard the story, or maybe someone's heard it, but probably most people have not. So this group of, 40-something people, I believe they're realtors or they're in real estate somehow. They go out to do this business dinner, right? They go out to a restaurant for a business dinner. Now, they had pre-planned, I don't know if they were familiar with these waitresses or whatever, but they're, I guess, very good waitresses, and they wanted to tip them well. Maybe they go here all the time or something and want to reward them. I don't know exactly how that worked out. They didn't really explain that. But this was pre-planned. They wanted to, two waitresses waited on them, and they wanted to give them a really big tip, right? It's almost Christmas, 'tis the season, and they wanted to, make somebody smile and do something nice, and they felt like these two people really deserve it. So every person, when it came time to pay, every person in that party, which was 40-something, must be 44, given the math, tipped $100. $100. And they said this group, this party, they called ahead to make sure it was going to be okay to do this, and there's going to be no issues in the restaurant. Yeah, like, oh yeah, absolutely. That's great. So, and they recorded it, a bunch of people in the group recorded it. And when it was time to pay, each one left $100, leaving a tip of $4,400 to be split between the two people. So that's $2,200 for each waitress. They were so happy. They were like without words. They're crying. They couldn't believe it, how much this is going to change, and coming right at Christmas, this is amazing. For most people, getting that much money, especially right before Christmas, is going to be amazing, right? It could really, make things look up for some people that maybe weren't looking up. And one of them was talking about student loans and stuff that, she's really struggling, and, this is going to be, this is just going to help her tremendously. She can't believe it. This is so great. So happy, crying tears of joy. So then they get the tip. Then the owner of the restaurant says, oh, no, let me give me that money. You can have 20% of it. And you're going to split this with everybody in the restaurant. So this tip, that was intended for these people, and I guess other people pitched in ahead of time to leave this big tip, right? So they pooled this money together throughout however many people, so they could do this for these two specific people. They wanted these two people to have this. Then after they do it, the owner says, no, it's only fair that you split it with every other server in the restaurant too. And who does that, right? And that, I guess they said, the girl who initially received the tip said never in the 3 years that she's worked there has she ever been asked to share tips like that. Tips are yours. In that restaurant, tips are yours. You get a cash tip, that's your cash tip. But now, the owner stepped in and want to play Grinch. But it's not over. It gets even worse. And so she's upset, and they're like, what are you going to do? But I would imagine she's also feeling awkward because around the other coworkers, she maybe doesn't want to say, no, I don't want to share this with everybody. Even though, no, she should never even be asked. The owner, as far as I'm concerned, has no business in that transaction, right? That transaction, these people gave you cash. The owner, you're out of it. You got your money, right? This is why wait staff works for tips. That's their money. You get yours, they get theirs. And stepping in, which you've never done before, right, is pretty grinchy. So the people who left the tip, now they step back in again because however it works out, they realize what's going on. So they tell the owner, no, this is not what we intended. We wanted them to have it. And I guess the owner's like, well, you know, we're going to split it with everybody. And the owner says, no, never mind then. We want the tip back. So they get the tip back. They get the cash back. So they go to the waitress. They tell the waitress to meet us outside where they give her the tip. That was intended for her and the other one, right? So it's been up and down and up and down. So now she has the tip back. And they're like, hey, don't even tell them about it. This is for you, right? This is intended for you. We're super upset and annoyed that they would have even thought to do that. But, you know, this is for you. Keep it. Don't give it to anybody else. So, okay, so it's looking back up for her again. She's excited, happy again. Still can't believe that that even happened. And now what an awkward thing, you know. Who is this owner? Who would do this? I got to find the name of the restaurant. I forget what it was. But I got to put that in here. So she goes back inside. Now she's all happy again. Oh, good. You know, I was all excited because this is going to help me so much. And then they did a news story on it, which is why all these details came out. She's all happy again because she was happy initially. Then it was all ripped away from her. And now she's happy and excited again. Because, like she said, she's struggling. And this is going to really, really help her. She goes back inside. The owner says, hey, you're fired. You're fired. What? Fired? For lying about the tips, apparently, for claiming she got no tip, which has never even been a thing. Never been a thing. You get a tip or you don't get a tip, that's on you. But the owner was butthurt because they wanted to make this decision for some reason to step their Grinch hand in there and rip that money away and divide it among other people. If they want to reward the other employees, if they think the other employees should have cash, my opinion, they own the business, give them the money too. If they deserve a holiday bonus too, give it to them. Who are you to take somebody else's money because you feel like your other employees should get some? So you're going to rip the money out of someone else's hands to give it to them? No. Reach into your own pocket if you want to do that. Or match it, double it or whatever. And then the other half, spread among your other employees, right? Actually do something to show the employees that you care. Not just that you care enough to take somebody else's money away and give it to them, but if it's going to come from me, no, you're not that valuable to me, right? So that's where it stands. She's fired. She got fired. And then she's crying again because, oh my God, like I said, I'm struggling and I have this money now, but what am I going to do now? But what's your opinion on this? I can't imagine anyone would have a different opinion. Maybe you think of it, maybe there's a different angle to look at this than I'm thinking. But this owner, what a Grinch. What a Grinch. And right before Christmas, who does that? But the way I see it, he or she, they have no right to that tip. No right to it. No right to share it with other people. That's this girl's money. That's hers. You can't reach into her pocket. So I thought that was a very, very Grinchy story. And like I said, I'll go back and somewhere in here you've probably seen the name or the city or something. And you know, share your thoughts. Let me know what you think on that, because damn it, I can't, unbelievable. But I would imagine, like I said, there was a local news story where that was and everything. So I imagine she's already got another job. I would guess and probably more money too. People probably said, hey, we want to help you. And I'm sure other restaurants were like, hey, we'll definitely, we'll take you, and make themselves look good, make this other restaurant look bad. But what a Grinchy humbug, terrible thing to do. What's the guy's name? I can't even remember. But humbug, huh? It's dirty. This is dirty. Scrooge, that's the word. That's the guy's name I was trying to think of. Scrooge, Grinch, Ebenezer Scrooge. when I first said it, for some reason I was like McDuck, because of course I was thinking Scrooge McDuck. But Scrooge, yeah, what a Scrooge or a Grinch, however you want to look at it. But yeah, if you got any Grinch stories, you've heard any Grinch stories, real life Grinch stories, put it in the comments. 'Tis the season, right? It's not a happy Christmas story, but I figured we'd change it up a little bit, and just talk about something. I used to do that kind of regularly. Every once in a while we would change it up so it's not just all doom and gloom all the time. Even though it's not like doom and gloom, we talk about things that we should be aware of, we should be prepared for, and just know, right? So we should still do that, but we got to have positivity and whatever. Again, this is not a positive story by any means. It's very crappy, but I have a feeling it's probably going to work out. It's going to be one of those meant to be type of things, right? Because they're going to, I'm sure, be donated more money, get better jobs, and still keep that tip money that was intended for them and all that. So we got more things, but we'll get back to the, don't worry, I assure you we'll get back to the doom and gloom right away. And I hope, like we talked about, everybody for real is being prepared. And a lot of people in comments, I look at some of the comments. I didn't have time to do anything with it or whatever, but some people think, the power could go out. And here's the thing, and some people are making this point too, and I get it, where a lot of people are going to be using the heat. Okay, so what? But those people would be using the AC, so it's going to be the same amount of power. If I remember correctly, it actually uses more electricity, more energy to run the heat than it does the AC, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe I have read this before. But the thing is, people living in like in Florida right now, right? Nobody's running AC because it's been nice out and it's been cool out. It's not so cold that we need the heat, so it's perfect. We can save on electricity, right? And everybody just got windows and doors open and stuff. So now suddenly everybody's going to need the heat. So it is going to be different than just a regular day. It is going to be suddenly everybody lose the heat. And somebody making the point that maybe they'll just use that as the excuse for what is this guy doing? Maybe this guy just ran right out in front of me. They're trying to I don't know what they're doing here, but literally this guy who's now waving me along just dove out in front of the car in a panic for some reason. But now what was I even saying? But some people made the point that maybe they'll use this as the excuse, right? Maybe they'll say, "Oh, the cold and the the power usage and everything," and they'll just be like, "Floop, turn it off," and they'll be like, "Oh, too much energy got used." And I'm with you too. I could see that happening too. That's just as possible. I think either could happen, and I wouldn't put it past whoever they are, to do something like that, and it wouldn't be unlike things we've seen before. So that's a possibility too. But either way, the result would be us dealing with it. So we just have to be prepared. We got to put us first. Whatever happens, is very possible for the power goes out. No matter how it works out to be, we're going to have to deal with it. So be prepared for it. Also, a tip that I heard, if you live in Florida or one of these areas where you don't use the heat often, don't wait until it gets cold. Don't wait until that night that it's super cold, because the heater is designed to regulate your heat, and it's going to, like, if you wait until now suddenly it's super cold and you set it for 70 degrees. They also say that the best number to set it at and the most efficient is 68. That's not warm enough for a lot of people, so it is what it is. But they say turn it on early, right? Set it for 68, 70, whatever you want early, so it can start building up. So then when it starts to get cold, it's already where it needs to be, and it won't have to struggle. Like suddenly it's 50 degrees in the house and it needs to work to get it to whatever you set it at. And that's going to use a lot more power. It drains a lot more energy trying to get it up to that point. Also remember that thing stinks, man. We burned ours off already. Run that and burn that stuff out of the house. Open some windows and get that stink off the coils. And these coils can freeze too, but it'll melt off. But get that stink out before you got to go to bed with it. It always stuffs up my nose and stuff too. All that dust and everything builds up. But anyway, there's some tips for you, and there's a Grinch story for you. Share anything that you want to share, and I appreciate you. Well, I'll see you before Christmas, but hope everybody's having a good almost Christmas time, getting everything ready. I appreciate you. Twisted Luck Truth. I'll see you soon.